We are moving forward in the Breaking Barriers. You know how when some organizations talk about diversity, it sounds like, yes, yes, that would be very nice, but you know, in this climate and it's hard and the people and the blah, 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 and we will try next year. No, our next speaker will have none of that. She is the CEO and founder of The Social Few, and they make diversity measurable. She has coined the expression perspective density. Perspective density, how dense are your number of she'll tell you more. Yeah. She is famous for her methods of making inclusion happen. She's here. She is Susan Horay Lindberg. Okay. Hello? Hello? Yeah, now it works, right? No? Yes? Hello. All righty then. Thank you. So it's amazing to be here, first and foremost. What an honor. And wow, you are many. I mean, you can intellectually understand, or me, I could intellectually understand from a numbers perspective. But now I see and I feel. The Social Few, I work as a CEO at The Social Few, and what we do is data-driven inclusion, which can mean like anything and everything, you know, one of those buzzwords. So how many of you have used the word innovation the last week? It's like a dying word or something. How many of you have used growth? Yeah, okay. The latest. How many of you have used the word impact? Yep, that's the up-and-coming word. I see you. Yes. So what we do, basically, is measure things. We make sure to look at, in this instance that I'm going to talk about today, is one of our research that we've done. When does innovation, growth, and impact actually occur? You know, we talk about these large, huge, amazing words. But when do they actually occur? And what is needed for it to be able to occur? So Sweden is an amazing country. Numbers have a way of putting things into perspectives. I love numbers. I'm a number kind of person. I'm a mathematician. I heard the other day that was cool. I must say that is the first time I've ever heard that math was cool. Woo! I hear you, girlfriend. So Sweden is amazing. One of the numbers that we know is like 33% of the Swedish population has at least one foreign-born parent. How many of you have one foreign-born parent? Okay, all right. So 25%, every fourth Swede has a foreign background. How many of you have a foreign background with both foreign-born parents? Okay. And 1/5, so every fifth person you meet should be foreign-born. How many of you are foreign-born? Okay. Well, fair representation. Awesome. What we're going to do, I'm going to show you a couple of things. So we've done a research called One Question. Let's see here, the talent code. The talent code? Let me see here. Okay. We've done a research in order to see what is needed in order for innovation to occur.
we landed in two things. One, you need to have high perspective density. What does that mean? That means that you have to have as many perspectives in a context as possible. The second part is you need inclusive leadership. What does that mean? That means that you have a leader that is curious, that is able to facilitate discussions, and that is basically, how do you say, like interested in people's differences. So when people are not getting along, you want to know why. What is the root behind you not getting along? That's when you ask a question, you get a certain amount of answers in usual rooms. In rooms where it's a room with people that are quite similar to each other, you get a certain amount of answers. When you have a room with high perspective density and inclusive leadership, so a diverse room and inclusive leadership, you get 10 times more answers to the same question than if you don't have. So when does innovation occur? When you get as many answers and many solutions to the same problem, to the same question as possible. That's when innovation occurs. So in order for that to happen, we need to have many perspectives in our organizations. Yes? Yes. So what we've done is we've measured how does it work in recruitment processes within tech. We've done this with 10 large companies to see. The purpose is to hire people with different languages. Where do we end up? Are you ready for this? Let's do this. So we measured age, gender identity, and languages. Those are the three, and there are many more you can measure, but those are the three simple perspectives that you can measure. We know that application, from all of the people that are applied for the jobs, they had 90% qualitative. They were qualified for the thing that they were applied for. So it was not about qualification here. This is the perspectives that applied for these jobs, okay? This is what was intentionally what they needed. Because what we did, we looked at the organization. These are the perspectives that are lacking. These are the languages that we need in order to grow as a company. This is what we need in order to create innovation globally. Okay? So what happened? We start with the phone screening. Do you see differences? What happened here? We lost some perspectives along the way. We could also see that, for example, from 34% Hindu-speaking to 3, from 70% Somali-speaking to 2, Arabic-speaking never came. Okay? Yes, let's move on to the next. First interview, who passed the phone screening to come to the interviews? This is when you get some music like. Dun, 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 dun. This is, we've done this for 2 years. So this is not one company, these are 10 companies and quite many times. Okay? Who passed on to the next? This is like a funnel, you know, like a gamification kind of thing. Okay? And from the second interview, who got the job? Ton, ton, ton. I love like the former amazing speaker was like, and I'm like, wah, wah. But you know, sometimes, I don't know if you know this or if you have like experience from this, is after a recruitment process, you feel like, ooh, it doesn't feel like really amazing in the stomach. Like something, you know, just something doesn't feel right. You just can't pinpoint what it is. You gotta love numbers, right? Because when you do this, then you know approximately, what you can do is, for example, identify biases. Everybody are biased. Everybody's biased. We're human, and we work with humans. It's a human kind of thing. It's part of a personal development to work with your biases. And that is something that companies should be offering, especially if you're in recruitment processes. The other thing is you can see if you have an inclusive infrastructure. Are we inclusive in general? Like, what is our way of working, way of thinking? Are we able to say, no, they were not qualified enough? Because qualification comes before diversity, right? Because the one has to be without the other. No, not really. No. So, and it's also like the classics. No, there are not enough people, like women in tech. How many women in tech are we here? We're quite many. So, what I think is amazing about this, why I love numbers, is, as I mentioned, it puts things into context. It makes things more logical. And you can actually attach feelings away from numbers. You can be like, okay, this is the way it looks. Now we have something to work with, which is amazing, because it's not about feelings. It's not about right and wrong. It is also, but it's not only about that. It's about, like, who are we? Who do we want to be? And how do we want to grow? Are we future-proof? Are we not? How do we future-proof ourselves? And the first thing that we need to do is to look at the recruitment funnel, so to speak. And as we say, I think it's super important to look at data and numbers behind every data is a human. Behind every human is a voice. And to make data human is like of very, very high importance, I would say. And to be able to look at them and look at it from an objective point of view and say, okay, this is the situation today. Now we know that we don't have to do all of the inclusion kind of things. This is what we need to start with, because this is what we've identified. Numbers. That's all I have to say.
Tack så jättemycket. Thank you, Susan. Wow.